Hey, what's going on, you guys? This is Madam, and I'm coming back to you again. This is from NBCnews.com, and should come as no surprise to anyone. After the George Floyd conviction and verdict, Derek Chauvin files motion for new trial in George Floyd case, alleging jury misconduct. Chauvin's attorney, Eric Nelson, filed the request, alleging that the former officer's ability to have a fair trial was affected by the pre-trial publicity. Okay? This article is by Doha M and Tim F. Okay? And the article starts off by saying former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin filed a motion for a new trial Tuesday after he was convicted last month of murdering George Floyd. Chauvin's attorney, Eric Nelson, is alleging pretrial publicity affected Chauvin's right to a fair trial. The motion alleges the court abused its discretion by denying the request for a change in venue in a new trial. Because the court failed to sequester the jurors or admit them, I apologize, I'm getting tongue-tied, to avoid all the media, Nelson's filing, they were subjected not only to the prejudicial publicity but also to trial intimidation or potential fear of retribution. The court has already rejected many of these arguments, and the state will vigorously oppose them. John Stiles, Deputy Chief of Staff for Minnesota Attorney General Keith E., said in a statement Tuesday evening. In total, the motion alleges 8 abuses of discretion by the court. Nelson's filing also accuses Minneapolis state prosecutor of committing pervasive prejudicial prosecutorial misconduct that also affected Chauvin's right to receive a fair trial. The filing also requests an order to impeach the verdict on the grounds that the jury committed misconduct, fled, threatened, or intimidated, fled race-based pressure during the proceedings, and or failed to adhere to instructions during deliberations. Nelson has had no comment on the motion. A jury found Chauvin guilty of second-degree murder, third-degree murder, and as well as second-degree manslaughter in Floyd's death in May of 2020. Last week, the first juror in Chauvin's trial spoke out and described the evidence upon which the 7 women and 5 men convicted the former officer as overwhelming. And these are the 2 people that wrote the article, and you can go check them out for any of their other articles. Just basically, this is no surprise to me. It shouldn't be any surprise to anyone else. They were basically saying the same thing even before the trial happened, when they were selecting the jurors, and also during and now after the trial. I don't see how this could have affected anything. This was nationwide. You couldn't. It was at one point you couldn't turn on your TV and not hear about George Floyd, the protests, and Derek Chauvin, and also as far as going back to when Derek Chauvin used to do security for a club that him and the George Floyd used to work for or work at. He was off duty. Not to mention that he has another thing that's about to start up about a 14-year-old, and he did the same maneuver on the 14-year-old that he ultimately did on George Floyd, and for that, Mr. Floyd did not survive. I wanted to continue to give my condolences to the Floyd family, family, friends, and anyone touched and affected by this case. It affected a lot of people. There was no way you were going to find a venue in any of these 50 states, in my opinion, that they would have not known about George Floyd and what happened to him or seen the video. Um, it went viral. It went viral for the right and the wrong reasons. The wrong reasons because it shows a black man, an innocent black man, uh, being murdered on camera. Modern day lynching, in my opinion. And in a good way, it brought awareness to what's actually happening. Black people, our community, brown people, this happens all the time, and it was a strong public outcry. George Floyd will not be the first, and sadly, he will not be the last that people have public outrage about. But he was justly tried and convicted, in my opinion, and he deserves to spend every bit of what they're going to give him in jail. The fact that he's even able to still walk around and breathe, regardless of the fact that he's in a prison on segregation from the population, is basically still giving Derek Chauvin too much freedom. Because at the end of the day, George Floyd was not afforded that freedom. And if anybody watched the trial, you could understand why I say this the way that I do. They tried to point to, his prior arrest. They tried to point to his conviction. They made people believe that the fentanyl and the other substances inside of his body was from drug use, when it really was from medication that he was prescribed. As far as I really didn't go through the trial. I honestly could not bring myself to even sit there and look at it, to be honest of you. But I caught little tidbits here and there, so some of the information that I say may be inaccurate, and if it is, I apologize in advance for that. But ultimately, my opinion at the end of the day is that justice was served, and the people that were involved with Derek Chauvin should seek, they should have they should be punished as well. I'm waiting to see when that starts up and what happens with that, and I definitely will report on that as well. So at the end of the day, justice was done properly and fully, in my opinion. So regardless of how I feel, I would like to know how you feel, and just come sound off in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. If you have any interesting stories or stories period, you can always hit me up on my IG at madam8181. And also, I will put my email address in the description, as well as if you want to, comment, whatever. So we're going to keep it rolling. And until next time, you guys, in another video, I will see and talk to you guys